over 52 Ghanaians are behind bars because they protested galamsey. Some of them were innocent bystanders even, and they were all roped up and taken to various prisons and jails within Accra and even beyond, because the youth of Ghana simply had enough of how rampant galamsey was destroying our environment. What is galamsey? Galamsey is the colloquial term for usually illegal mining, but now you can say it's just for indiscriminate mining with no respect for the environmental impact of such activities. Hey everyone, this is Suhaidatu Dramani. I know it's been a while, and I just felt that I had to make this video highlighting online protests and how to make them more effective, and also how to understand who the enemy might be online in order to be able to safeguard and strengthen our stance. So let's get to it. As I speak, most of the major water bodies in Ghana are no longer clear. As a result, bred a lot of ills for your everyday citizen who does not have the capacity to fly out of the country for medical care should they need to, who live in a country where the healthcare infrastructure is severely inadequate. It is so bad that the current president of Ghana, when he was in opposition and wanted Ghanaians to vote for him, said he was ready to put his presidency on the line to ensure that galamsey is curbed. And yet, under his office, galamsey is even more rampant. It is important to note that galamsey didn't start today, but now, because it's so easy to access license to, mine indiscriminately, everywhere that there is any prospect of gold, you'd find people who have the license to do this, as well as, of course, people who do not have the license, but it's just indiscriminate, and the effects are here with us now. And so Ghanaian citizens who are already fed up with so many atrocious things that are happening in the country, including high taxation, no jobs, our currency is severely depreciated, there's just so much going on in the country right now, have to contend with the fact that the legacy with which we hoped to be able to thrive and restore this country, with which we hoped we'd be able to hand over to our children, is being contaminated due to the greed of our leaders who we've entrusted to usher us into a new dawn of prosperity and greenery. And so once these activists and bystanders were arrested for this protest, immediately people took to social media to protest the criminal arrest of these people, as well as the fact that what they were talking against, or what they were speaking against, was something so severe that if we are not careful, Ghanaians would start having to import drinking water. Digital activism is seen as a form of activism that uses the internet and digital media as key platforms for mass mobilization and political actions, and has been traced back to the 1980s even. Other forms of digital activism include virtual sit-ins, where a lot of activists would maybe log onto one website at a specific time simultaneously in order to overwhelm or overload its servers or systems and such, crash it. Or hacktivism, which infamous group Anonymous is known for doing, where they undertake cyber attacks on sites like child pornography sites. In recent years, one very strong kind of online activism that's really used hashtags is the hashtag #MeToo movement, which started from one person just talking about their sexual abuse story, and it's sparking across the entire globe and forming chains of solidarity that led to accountability, big and small. I actually did a talk at Republica Accra on the #MeToo movement and the power of hashtags, and you can see why I have come to this video at this point in time, because hashtags are one of, if you ask me, the strongest way of creating a lasting message on social media. And so I really wanted to have this video to kind of show people that it's not just making a tweet, but it's using a hashtag, and using the right hashtag makes a huge difference and strengthens the cause that we are trying to advance. Now, why are online protests such a big thing now? It's because online protests are such a good way to quickly mobilize a protest. If you have something that you're angry about and you begin like venting about it, and then other people within your circles also like can relate to it, and they also take up the cry, it just spreads like that, and very quickly you have a lot of people coming together to voice out their frustration over a particular issue. It's also a safer way to protest. A few years ago, I was the programs director at LGBT Rights Ghana, and it was during my time there that our community center was raided and shut down. And I remember I was able to, with the communications team at LGBT Rights Ghana, create an online protest called hashtag Queer Ghanaian Lives Matter and hashtag Ghana Gets Better. And it was able to bring together safely queer people in Ghana for them to be able to voice out their frustrations and anger towards the Ghanaian homophobic atmosphere. And this is safer because queer people, when they take to the streets or identify as queer, or I'm not even queer, and just exhibit any kind of mannerism that is seen as other, are attacked and violently accosted in Ghana. So when you have things like online protests, it just creates a safer way for people who are fighting against the grain of society to be able to make their voices heard. Another major thing about online protests is it's creates a means of building a buzz or bringing people together towards organizing or strategizing on how to take things offline. So it's also like a really good starting point for protests that would manifest physically. And also it transcends geography. So you have people all over the world being able to join on online protests because we are able to see what's going on the internet and add our voices in real time. And so, of course, people were angry, and this sparked the hashtag Stop Galamsey, hashtag Free the Citizens campaigns that we've been having going on till date. Now, let's be clear. Ghana is only democratic on paper. Ghana police and other law enforcers are actually used as muscle by those in power and other authorities to actually bamboozle citizens. Just a few years ago, there were activists who were having a conference on documenting human rights violations against the queer community, and they were arrested for unlawful gathering, and they were kept in prison for almost a month without bail. You have that same situation repeating itself on September 21st. And so, of course, this, has sparked a digital protest because nobody saw this arrest coming. And as a result, the first place that the youth naturally gravitate towards, because let's face it, we are internet babies, was X. And in the midst of that, being, coming together to organize and strategize how to protest this in person. And the protest started 2 days ago. Today is the fifth day, 3, that the protests are ongoing in Accra. There's a more massive force that is gathered online that has, caused this to also spill out onto the streets. And so it's important to ensure that this online protest is sustained and strengthened and enhanced in order to be able to keep going even after the physical protest is over. And this is why I am concerned due to the deviation in spelling of the main hashtags that have been used so far. I think that it is an attempt to dilute and suppress the voices of Ghanaian youth, but that is not the only reason why maybe some hashtags might be misspelled. It might be that people are just in a hurry to type things out, and as such are committing typos. But I don't think that is the case, because you would need a good number of people to make the same typo multiple times in order for a hashtag that is misspelled to start trending. So why is hashtag Stop Galamsey trending? why is hashtag free the citizens trending? It's because there are wolves in sheep clothing who are trying to dilute the message, who are trying to reduce the impact of the online protest. And you'd ask yourself, why would a few youth on the internet disturb such high and mighty powers, so much so that they would employ bots and other means to disrupt the youth's voice? I'll tell you why. It's because they know that due to the convenience of the internet, when the youth speak out, their voice carries over into the diaspora, who would also echo. As I speak, there is a protest that is being organized today in London to also hashtag Stop Galamsey. Another was, I think, organized somewhere in the US a few days ago towards the same end. Locally, there are organized unions and labor forces that are also planning their own protests in order to take to the streets to talk about the same thing. So, as you can see, what has started online is seriously gaining traction. Another reason why they would want to dilute our messaging is because of the international attention that they do not want to be on Ghana, like the negative international attention. As I speak, neither the president nor the vice president and some select members of parliament amongst and as well as the executives have decided to keep mute about this online and offline protests that is, trying to help curb this environmental injustice. And I think it's because they are afraid of sparing this any further, not knowing that their silence is actually incensing the youth more. When we speak out online and we charge and our numbers increase and multiply, it brings a lot of international attention to the cause that we are trying to advance. During the arrest of the whole 21, I believe, and I think a lot of evidence points towards the fact that it was through the noise making that queer Ghanaians and our allies made on social media that brought the attention of BBC, Reuters, Vice, so many international media outlets to cover the situation that then pressured the authorities in Ghana to let our people go. And it's in the same way that as we keep on protesting online, more international outlets will continue to cover the story as they are, and that would then, lead to an uncovering of the dirty underbelly of Ghana, and in hopes of actually shaming or coercing our leaders into responding or doing what is right. And so because our leaders or whatever authorities do not want that, of course they will try to dilute the impact of our hashtags. Also, this is how posterity would be able to track what we did in this moment in time. It's almost like a touchstone or a bookmark at this point in history. So if you really want to be remembered, use the right hashtag. If you want your tweet, your post, whatever to count in future when the researchers are coming to scavenge through the internet paraphernalia after the dust has settled, make sure you're using the right hashtag. Because unless somebody is coming to look at, dilution campaigns, they will not be going to look for a hashtag Galamsey. Before I end this, I'd just like to say a huge shout out to the graphic designers of Ghana, a group that I'm proud to call myself a member of, for all the graphics that you've been making that actually, showcase the ills that Galamsey is wrecking in our country. You're doing an amazing job, and your graphic representations are really pushing the matter to the fore and allowing people to relate to it strongly and allowing us to speak to it in fewer words. So keep up the good work, and everyone everywhere, if you care about Ghana, if Ghana is your favorite holiday destination, if you've heard about Ghana, if you care about the environment at all, let this be a very important point in your life where you just go online and tweet, post, text hashtag free the citizens, hashtag stop Galamsey. Thank you.